Hi guys! I guess not a usual video, but I don't even upload on this channel anyways, at least not regularly. So I'm a big fan of The Sims 2. This is like my favorite Sims game and has been for over a decade. And I do have my own playing style, which is probably not the most ideal for the game itself. I really love playing with the pre-made families. I just like them quite a lot, and I guess I thought I would show you my Pleasantview, as this is probably the most known neighborhood in the game. And yeah, so I do have my own rules of playing. If if this video gets some kind of attention from, I don't know, Sims fans, and they would like to know, then I guess I could make something like that, but it's not that special. I do play with some mods. I do have quite a few of them, and like the age system is also a bit different. I do have the what's that 16-hour pregnancy mod, and my babies are like only spend 1 day as babies, and then toddlers 4. I don't even remember if that's for the regular game as well at this point. The children are pretty much the same as they are in the game originally, or plus minus 1 day, I don't know. Teens are much shorter lifespan, like 8 days, I think, and then adults, instead of 30 or well 29, they are 39. But I didn't adjust the pre-made Sims age, if that makes sense. So yeah, the pre-made adults would become elders, most of them at least, when they are supposed to become elders, while the teens or youngers who grew up to be adults eventually, they uh, go with the 39 days, I guess. I think that helps too, because many of the parents of teens are usually younger. I feel like they're younger than they should be. So yeah, it doesn't really matter if they age up a bit sooner. So I did play quite a while with this neighborhood, and not too crazy, but there are quite a few families at this point. Herb and Coral already have died a bit ago, at least Herb a while ago and Coral quite recently. But Mortimer just died like a day ago or something in my game, and then the rest of them are still alive, and I have quite a few newer Sims. So the babies, I guess. Where do we even start? Hmm. Well, I guess we could start with my favorites. So the thing is that my three all-time favorite Sims, probably in The Sims 2, are Nina Caliente, Don Lotario, and Dina Caliente. So um, I know they are romance Sims, and I could play them as romance Sims, but for some reason, because they make so pretty, like so much, so many pretty babies, I kind of force them to be family Sims in a sense, which is kind of mean, I know, but I just love them so much. So my OTP for Pleasantview is definitely Don Lotario and Nina Caliente. So one of the first things I do when I start Pleasantview is enter the Goth family, and the scripted event plays out with Don leaving Cassandra at the altar. So after a couple of days dealing with some angry Cassandra, Don and Nina can live their happy life. They actually don't immediately get married, only after a few babies. That's what they always did in my games, and they did it in this save as well. So this is my Lothario family. So very happy Nina and Don, who have family secondary aspirations, so they don't go into aspiration failure when they have babies. Actually, they do roll once to have babies, but I like their job ones. Like in general, I quite like them as a mix of the romance and family sims. The only thing is that they don't cheat on each other, which is uncharacteristic of romance sims. But can you just imagine them being just like romantic people and not the cheating aspect of romance sims? So actually, you can see here 5 kids, and her being pregnant with a sixth. But their oldest kid is actually just grown up to an adult. I don't play with the university part because I find it too long and exhausting, so I just play without university basically. Their oldest child is grown up. I will show her in a second, but these are the next 5 kids and then the seventh, and they are one of the very few families where I actually want to fulfill the 10 kids want, which is kind of bad for the game because you should be avoiding overpopulation. So what I do in my game, I rarely ever choose the family aspiration for the in-game born babies, like when they grow up to teens, because I just don't want to eventually overpopulate. But in the beginning, I do have my Sims have many kids, at least certain families, not all of them. So maybe not the best strategy, but that's what I came up with, to have many Lothario and Caliente babies, because I just love them and they are super pretty. Okay, we can look into them. So of course there is Don. Don't be surprised, my game is like half Hungarian and half English. I don't know how I made that, but normally the names are not translated, which is cool because I like the original names. So there's of course Nina. She's not that happy right now, but yeah. I do want her to work eventually, at least in the slacker career, but she's so busy with the babies. But Don is very helpful. Like Don helps out a lot with the babies. Like always, the toddlers learn their skills from both of them, and not the teens. So yeah, he's a good dad, and due to this, he's slowly getting the promotions in his medicine career. Because he doesn't really have many time to build his skills, but he's very close. I think he's on level 9 finally, because I actually want to have him change career, but first he needs to be on the top of the medicine career, because that's what I want from him, for him. So he's doing pretty great, as you can see. He's currently in gold inspiration, not so much Nina, but she can work in the slacker in a while. Maybe they're so close to having 10 babies, like Adam being the second child, and he also has the surname Caliente because they were not married then. So when Adam moves out, they can have 8 kids. So they need to move up to this point. But I think she will start working soon. Yeah, they don't have that much money, and they couldn't move out of the condo, and I had to build them like a other story. So that's a bit problematic. They should have already moved to a bigger house. But yeah, it's hard with many toddlers, but I can manage them. So it's become very easy now because they're like teens and just like few kids. So there is Adam, who's being the second kid, and he actually has a family aspiration. I just found his personality to fit with family aspiration, but even though he's a family, he won't be having more than 4 kids. So in the beginning, like original Sims can have like more than 6 kids if I make them to be family aspiration or their family aspirations. Well, usually I only have family Sims have that many kids, except for these 2. But Adam, because he's beautiful, and I found his girlfriend to be beautiful as well, so they're gonna have like 3 or 4 kids eventually. But all the other aspirations, like fortune, popularity, and knowledge, I rarely play with romance or what's that? I don't even like that aspiration much. They will only have 1 and maybe 2 if it's twins. So it's gonna dip the population. That's what I hope. Then there is Mina Lothario, who is a family sim, and she's the 3rd one. Currently, I don't remember what her lifetime goal is, but I usually like to pick careers as lifetime goals, so she's probably employed in that. Yeah, I know that Adam is like in the educational career. Then, as you can see, they have like 4-letter names always. So Adam, Mina, and then there is Lina, who is a knowledge sim because she's the most shy one, so that's why she became a knowledge sim. She's also very pretty. They make so many pretty babies. Then there's Tina Lotario. I think she's gonna grow up to a teen very soon. I don't know much about her personality yet. So, and there is even Evan Lotario. Like he's gonna carry on the Lothario surname because these are all girls, of course, and I try to like carry the boy's name forward. So yeah, there's Ivan, and he's gonna get a little baby sister, baby brother soon. So yeah, for now he's the youngest. So that's, and I also use the equal genetics mod, and that's how they have blonde hair as well. They just don't happen to have red hair. I don't know what happens, but they just don't have red hair. They keep having blonde, if not black. And I try to make less black-haired kids because when I was a kid, and then later in my 20s when I was playing with Sims, I didn't know about equal genetics mod, and like pretty much all my neighborhoods became just black-haired Sims. So I just like to have any other color at this point. Now I started to like them again, but for a while I was just like, it can be anything, just not the black hair, because I had so many of those. Like every family in the pre-made based neighborhoods end up having black hair eventually if you play enough. I just didn't find that brown hair was as dominant. Like they just didn't have brown hair for some reason. Yeah, so that's the 5 kids, and this is where they live. They are not married yet, but this is Gina Caliente, the oldest. She is a popularity sim. She just grew up like spent one day as an adult. Pretty much she's gonna be a actress or like a superstar because that's her dream, and I want the best for her. And they're gonna carry the Caliente name because this is Bobby Broke, the 3rd Broke baby, who is born to Brandy Broke, and he just grew up. So basically, I make Dawn and Nina have a kid as soon as possible, and then that's the pair of Bobby, because I like Bobby to be like Bobby and not Brandy, like a 3rd boy for Brandy. That's what makes sense for me. So they are both popularity sims. Maybe they won't be the most exciting family. Of what's his career? I think he's like in, what's that, like journalism, I think. Yeah, so that's the Lotharian Calientes. And then I guess let's move on to the goth house, which is obviously at this point Dina's. So this is Dina and all her kids with Mortimer. Yes, Dina is also a favorite sim of mine, and even though she's a fortune sim, she ends up having many kids with Mortimer. Since I play with the clean template, Mortimer doesn't die like after 2 kids. So, and actually she finally had a red-haired baby. I didn't know how. Nina can't have one and Dina got whatever. Yeah, let's see. I wanted them to be twins, but I didn't use the forced twins cheat and just ate cheesecake and it didn't work. So he was born after Mortimer's death, so she doesn't have 7 kids, but only 6, but it's not enough. So actually, after Gina Caliente, Elizabeth Goth is gonna be the next one who grows up. Again, she became a family sim. She was too nice, and I need to stop making family sims. So Elizabeth Goth is the oldest of Gina's and Mortimer's kids. Of course, like the younger sister of Cassandra and Alexander. I think she's into ballet. I think. Because she has some other goal, like family goal. And there is Edmund Goth, who carries on the knowledge aspiration, and there is Emily Goth, who is like, I guess looks like a rebel, like she was really like black, that's what I made her to be, because she has this black headband, and then when she grew up to be like a kid, I was like, I want her to wear black. And then she ended up carrying that. And then there's Edward Goth. Like I try to make them like E letter names with like older, well, Edmund and Edward, okay. So he's gonna grow up to a teen pretty soon, Edward. And there is Eloise. Yeah, some Bridgerton here, and there is Annette, kind of Twilighty, but Twilight has some old names, and that's why it just works for this family. I just felt like Mortimer would continue to name his kids some older names, I guess. So, yeah, Edward, Eloise, and Annette. So these are the 6 kids they had, and then Dina can have her mansion and like she loves living here, so she's gonna live here because I want her to be happy. Okay, then where do we continue? Okay, let's continue with the Pleasants. Okay, maybe not loading, sorry. Okay, so these are the Pleasants. So both Daniel and Mary Sue has grown up to elders, so they are not hugging on the family picture anymore. Okay, so there are 3 boys here, and there's a dog. That's actually the oldies family dog. Like Coral moved in after Herb's death, and like she just left the dog here. So I usually don't play with pets. I just I don't know, rarely get pets. So that's Jake. That's it. That's Jake, his name. So yep. So there's Daniel, who's being super happy. See, well, he still sometimes cheats on Mary Sue. Uh, but like Mary Sue doesn't notice or don't make her notice. So they were happy in a sense, because actually I didn't choose a chance card, so she didn't get home to cheating with Kylan. So that's why, well, they are not happy in that sense, like family happy, but she's still at her job, and like I think she just reached the top of her career, so she's like super happy with that, and like lifetime aspiration, like she stayed in the politics career. I just made her to have that lifetime one, so well, finally she's content with her life because she's the mayor of the neighborhood. So yeah. And there is Daniel, who's like top of the sport career, so he's also happy. Sometimes gets a new girlfriend, so good for him. Then this is actually named Don Langerak. I think his girlfriend is Elizabeth Goth, like the first kid of Mortimer and Tina. And Don is actually Kaylin Langerak's baby with Daniel, who, well, she moved in, had a baby, and then just left, and then Mary Sue had to raise that baby. That's like the story here. Kind of doesn't work because Kaylin is actually like feminism, but I guess it like works in a way that like she felt shame and then just I don't know how I explain that. I know it's weird, but she just left the kid here. And like Mary Sue was like, why did this random person leave a kid here? I don't know, because she didn't discover the cheating, so I'm not sure how that works out, but they are actually in friendly terms. And then they actually had their own one more baby. This is David Pleasant. Um, like she had it like 2 days before becoming she had him like 2 days before becoming an elder or something. So yeah, like kind of close growing up, Don and David. So, and then of course there's the puppy, and there is this little kid who is named Ben Langerak, but actually Daniel is not the dad of Ben. So Ben is actually the sibling of Mary Sue, because even though Kaylin is a family sim, she's in town, I will show her. She just doesn't like her husband as much as she should. So, like for some random reason, they became very close with Herb Oldie in the last days of Herb's life, and they had a baby after Herb just died. And Coral basically took this kid with herself as Herb's baby, and then, well, after Coral died, he just lives with Mary Sue. So yeah, I don't know. Mary Sue is raising all these boys, like 2/3 of them is not even hers, but well, I guess like that's at least her sibling, so she doesn't want anything bad to happen to him, so she's raising him. Yeah, so that's the 3 boys, only one of them being like their kid. So there is that Pleasant, okay, and then I guess we should move on to like where is Langerak. So this is where Kaylin lives. So Kaylin, being a family sim, she wants kids, but only one of them is with her husband, who is Kennedy Langerak, who is actually like a townie, like a pre-made neighborhood, like Pleasantview townie. Kennedy, I don't know what his name was, but he's Langerak now, and he only cares about his job. Really, he doesn't really care about their kid, who is Aiden. Aiden is who's okay. The we didn't see the girlfriend yet, but that's Aidan Langerak, who is pretty young. He just grew up to be a teen, I think, so not that older teen. So yeah, but again, Kaylin has like 2 other kids elsewhere in the Pleasantview home. So yeah, there is that, and I guess we go on to, this is getting complicated here. So we go on to the Burbs. I actually made them have many kids. I don't know, they make pretty kids. So the 2 oldest do not live here anymore because they have grown up to be adults. But this is John Burr being super happy about his large family. And Jennifer Burr, even though she was pretty often pregnant, she did end up being at the top of her business career. Like, she's a model, and so like she's happy. So yeah, she's gonna become an other like in a day or two. She's pregnant with the last baby Burb, so that's gonna be 8 kids total, I think. I don't know why can't with family sims. They need to have, like, I love John. And actually, like, they didn't end up being divorced. Like, I play pretty much want-based. Um, like, Jennifer was fine. Maybe because I set the secondary aspiration. Yeah, probably due to that. But she did want to get, like, the promotion, so she was very focused on her work. She usually only teached 1 toddler skill. But, yeah, she still, like, had a fulfilling life. And John still did because they had many kids. So this is the 3rd kid, who is Haley Burb. Like, I don't really like this aspiration much, but I want to test it. I want to test it with Haley first. So I keep Pleasure Sims. Yeah, that's the name. Okay, Pleasure Sims in English. Then there is Bailey Burb, who is a Fortune Sim. I try to make like all siblings like different aspirations as much as possible. Yeah, and there are 2 boys finally, because they kept having girls, which is fine because they are pretty. So, but I felt like in the beginning, like John was trying for a boy as well, maybe, but he loves all his girls dearly. So, like, he's a very good dad. He started working recently. Like, he's in the culinary career. Like, he rolled that once because I guess his cooking skill was high, uh, due to family life, and like he just rolled it, and I was like, okay, then you can start working. He was close to old age, but like now he likes that work too, so finally he started working. Like, he was a stay-at-home dad for a while. So this is Bentley, and this is Anthony. They have like these YE names, like Haley, Bailey, maybe that's too close, but Bentley, Anthony, and this is Everly Berber, is a baby, but again, Jennifer is pregnant again, I guess, because Lucy kind of has a name like that. So I'm gonna show Lucy and the other sister soon. So yeah, those are the Burbs being happy with the big family. And then I guess let's show this Goth family. So here is Alexander Goth, who of course married Lucy Goth, even though I heard that Lucy actually works out with Dirk quite a bit, so now I'm a bit tempted, but like they have very good chemistry with Alexander. Alexander is a fortune sim and Lucy is a family sim because after reading on Sims Wiki, like it makes sense for Lucy to be a family sim, so yeah, but they still have very high chemistry, like I think the 3 boys, so yeah. They had their first baby recently, who is Benedict Goth. They're gonna have 3, maybe 4 kids. I haven't decided, but since Lucy is a family, yeah. But in my newer families, I will try to only at least pair family sims with families. So at least if I have more kids, it's like for both of their ones and not just one of them, I guess. So this is where Bella lives. Bella had a fulfilling like romance sim life in a sense. She works in the slacker career and like is a professional party guest. And I didn't really know what to do with her, to be honest. Like, the clean template came with Bella Goth being playable, like she was a townie, and I just didn't know what to do with her. So she lives wherever Cassandra lives. And well, she's also one of the girlfriends of Daniel Pleasant. She was dating Herb, well, not dating, but they were together with Herb Aldi as well, I think. And she was also having a fling with Mortimer, even though Mortimer was with Dina. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't really know what to do with Bella. Kinda, I don't know. She was not supposed to be in this Pleasantview, I guess. So that's why. Then there is, of course, Benedict that I showed, and Cassandra recently moved here. And yeah, that's her name, Cassandra Dreamer. And the thing is, um, well, she's gonna be an elder pretty soon. But I don't know if they divorced or she just moved out. I think they divorced with Darren. Yeah, that didn't work out. So Cassandra now lives with again with her mom and her little brother. So yeah, that didn't work out. So I showed this goth family. I like that they are like close by the other goth. I showed Burbs, Peasants, okay, Dreamers, the other Dreamer, and there is Broke. Okay. There is this Kapoor family, which is basically just Ivy Kapoor and the other townie Christy. I don't know what, because she's Kapoor now, having a nice lesbian family. But sometimes they have their own genetic kids, which I kind of regret. I should have just adopted. But actually, their first kid, Luke, is their biological kid, but then John is adopted. Yeah, maybe I should have just adopted. I don't know. Whatever, they are happy, and they are some boyfriends of the other girls living here. And they just had a new baby, Ella, but they are almost elders, so maybe they will have one more adoption and then that's it. They are living in a trailer, but actually they have quite a lot of money because, well, Ivy is a cult leader, which I love for her. So, yeah, Christy is working in the culinary career, but Ivy is a cult leader, which is a pretty well-paying job. So, yeah. Then let's do Broke. So this Broke home is actually only Broke living here. This is Bo, very pretty. I love him, and he married Katie Broke, who is the next kid that John and Jennifer Burp had. Like she's Katie Burp, like the younger sister of Lucy, and she's a sporty girl, so she's working in a sports career. Bo is working in the military career, and they're gonna have one beautiful baby, who I don't know if it's a girl or a boy yet, but yeah, very cute. They are living in the family home of the original Broke home. Actually, I just recently found out, like figured that the original Broke trailer is one tile wider than these two, and that explains a lot. Like, I don't know, it just felt different playing these always, and of course because this one is bigger. Yeah, so they're gonna be a happy small family. Yeah, I didn't change this, what is this, description, I guess. Yeah, but Brandy doesn't live here. I already showed Bobby, who's living here, and then we're gonna move on to Dustin. So this is Dustin being with Angela. They are together. They have an average marriage. They like each other, but they are still both focused on their careers. So Dustin, I think he's still in the criminal career. Good for him. And then Angela is actually in the, what's it called? Like the police officer. What's that called? I don't know what's it called in English, but she's gonna be Captain Hero, or she's already Captain Hero. Very close to being Captain Hero. But they have twins, so it made sense because Angela is a twin, and maybe she has a twin gene or something, and they have kids very young. Like, since I have the 16-hour pregnancy mod, I don't usually have adults have kids as soon as they grow up, because then that would make them like very young in my mind. So but they did. Everyone else that can't have babies in the first 3 or 4 days of being an adult, but they did, because in my mind I think Mary Sue and Daniel also had them really young, the twins. So and like they didn't really approve Angela's relationship with Dustin, and like she was like, okay, I'm just gonna live with him in this other trailer, and then she ended up being pregnant. So yeah, not the greatest start, but now it's sorted out because they are teens and started working. So they are kind of like, see, like I didn't do that, but I think Jake is actually older. But Jake is kind of looking like Dustin, but actually he has a personality more similar to Angela, so I gave him the popularity aspiration. And Kyla, even though looks like more like Angela, but seems more similar to Dustin, she got the fortune aspiration. So I like that. That's fun. And I think Jake is gonna date like is it Lina of the Loteria Calientes, Lina the knowledge sim, and then Kyla is I think with John here. Yeah, it's John. So they are young teenagers. They just grew up recently, and finally Dustin and Angela had their life figured out, but it wasn't really going well. Why they had very young kids by themselves, being very young. So there is that, and I think now we only have the dreamers, right? So you can guess what happened to the dreamers because Brandy's not living here. Okay, so Brandy really wanted to start a family. Okay, so this is a bit complicated. So this is of course Darren. So Darren had a huge crush on Cassandra. And after being left at the altar, Cassandra married Darren, and they started off well because they had a daughter who is a teenager, and she ended up being really pretty. I really like her, and I think she's a family sim. She's actually named Darlene after this is the wife of Darren, so that's weird, but yeah, I wanted the Darlene, and she's a family sim and gonna be with Adam Caliente. Um, but the thing is, I know that he's a knowledge sim, but I kind of imagined him being into family life. But for some reason, even though Cassandra is a family sim, she just didn't roll once for babies. So I just went with it. Like, she's actually, I think, has a hidden aspiration for knowledge, so that might be the reason. But I didn't set it as a secondary aspiration, only set it recently. And she just didn't roll once for babies. Like, she just wanted to learn skills. So I was like, okay, Cassandra, you do you. So they didn't have a second baby. Like, of course, like Darlene was growing up and being, but like, there was like, okay, I'm getting older. Like, I married this younger girl, like Cassandra, like, they much younger, but like, she just doesn't want to be pregnant again, which doesn't make too much sense because she's a family sim. So eventually, like, Darren started to look for love elsewhere, and of course, Brandy, being a family sim, like, she was like, okay, good, a new guy, like, I want to marry him, but Darren was already married, and like Cassandra just made the biggest plot twist because after she reached the top of her career, and I think like when Darren grew up to be an elder. So it wasn't even like her daughter's growing up memory that triggered it, but it was Darren. So Darren was an elder, Cassandra being still an adult. They had already a teenage daughter. She suddenly rolled the one for a baby. And I was like, what, Cassandra? You spent like 20 days of your adult life not wanting a baby, and suddenly you now want a baby like 6 days away from being an elder. So I was like, okay, maybe she's panicking because she's feeling like Darren is getting further and further. So that's how Derek was born, like a very late baby in their marriage. But actually, by that time, unknowing to Cassandra, okay, I made this too dramatic, I know. Darren already had a baby with Brandy. And Brandy was still living in the trailer with her boys, and she had Betty. So this is Betty Broke, whose dad is actually Darren. I don't know how she ended up being blonde and so light-skinned. Honestly, I don't know. I thought she would have black hair at least. But I don't know where the blonde is because, well, I guess in Brandy's genes, but I thought like the blonde came from Skip's family side and not Brandy's. Whatever. So Betty was already born. So as you can see, Betty is older than Derek. Derek being Cassandra's. But I think it was after the birth of Derek that Darren was like, no, this is not working anymore. I actually really like Brandy, and I want to give Brandy and her kids like a happy life. So Brandy's gotta have to move in, and then they divorced. I think they divorced with Cassandra. So that's why Cassandra lives with her brother. So Brandy moved in with her younger kids because the boys are already older. I think Bobby was not an adult yet, but Bo was, so Bobby's just stayed with Bo. But actually, Brandy has an older than Betty girl. Like, that's Holly Broke. And Holly is actually Daniel's. So Daniel had an affair with Brandy as well, which is kind of crazy. So since Brandy is good friends with Lena and Dina, I just don't see Brandy anywhere near Don Lothario or even Mortimer, even though I think they would work with Mortimer in a sense. But it feels like I made Brandy to be like a romance sim, but she just wanted kids. And like when a random guy came on and was like, oh, I really like you, Brandy, she just was like, I want a baby. So that's how she ended up having Holly. And then the same thing happened with Darren. Even though she knew he was married, I don't think she expected anything of Darren. But now I think they are not, oh, they are married, okay. Brandy Dreamer now, they married, okay, great, good for you. They're gonna lose the Broke name anyways, like Holly and Patty. And they have a baby. It's Faith Dreamer. Oh, so cute. Like, Faith is still just a baby. Yeah, so they have 2 kids together. And then there is Holly, who's Daniel's kid. And then these 2 are Cassandra's. Basically, sorry, I forgot your name. Darlene is helping or mainly raising Derek. Like, she just didn't want to go with her mom, like, to the goth house. Like, she just was like, whatever. Like, in my mind, she felt like she wanted younger siblings much, as she's a family sim, but, like, her mom didn't. So, like, mom was very focused on her career. So, like, she was like, okay, at least I have now more siblings, which I know probably wouldn't work. Real life teenagers would be very upset that their mom got cheated on and like that had other kids. But yeah, she just stayed here. Yeah, so that's the very complicated, dramatic life of Darren. So I guess Darren and Daniel are the most complicated. Actually, Brandy is like my 4th favorite after the Caliente sisters and Dawn. So I just wanted Brandy to have her babies. She's not gonna have 10 babies, but at this point she has 6, which is pretty great for her. So these 4 Sims that are my favorites are actually the only Sims, even throughout all the neighborhoods, that can drink Elixir of Life. So she's a bit younger than Cassandra, which doesn't make sense, but yeah, she's younger. Yeah, I just ended up really liking this family. This was a pretty recent idea to just mess up the Cassandra Darren family, but I felt like Cassandra was just not rolling once regarding Darren anyway. So I was like, okay, then you don't even like him. Maybe she just married him because oh, I want to start a family, but Dawn left me at the altar. So it kind of makes sense. Like, she maybe was originally so in love with Dawn that like she just couldn't open up to Darren, and they didn't end up having more kids, but ended up having one more baby. So yeah. Then one more family that I didn't show is of course Lilith and Dirk. They just recently married. For a while, like, Dirk just didn't, well, he proposed, but they were just not married for a while. and they have a tiny little daughter, Lila, and she's wonderful. And I think shockingly Lilith as a popularity sim, and she doesn't have a secondary aspiration of family. I promise you, Rod wants for another baby, which is extra. I always imagined Lilith maybe having one kid, and that's it. And she's like, okay, this is not for me, but she loves her daughter. So I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna have another baby or not. I just feel like they shouldn't. But also she rolled the ones. And as a popularity sim, I feel like popularity sims don't really roll ones for kids. Just maybe like the first time after getting married. So yeah, that's it for my Pleasantview. I know it ended up being dramatic. Like it started off with just Daniel being so like into drama, but then Brandy and Darren just like did this thing. But they look happy, I guess. So I just don't like Cassandra as a sim, and maybe that's why. That's why I did this to you. I'm sorry, Cassandra, but I have the excuse that you just didn't have once rolled for babies. So you kind of cheated. You said you were a family sim, but you were not. So I don't know. Like originally, when I first loaded Pleasantview as a kid, like maybe like I was 12, I saw that Dawn was engaged to Cassandra. I didn't even know what would happen if I loaded the Goth family. I never loaded. But when I loaded Dawn, I was like, no, I want you to be with Nina. I don't know, but 12-year-old me really wanted Dawn to be Nina, with Nina, sorry. And then I basically just moved the Goths out in my original play and then deleted them with the family delete button, which turns out to be safe, but everyone said for like 20 years that it's not safe. So whatever, I deleted it. Actually, it didn't corrupt my game, so I was always skeptical about the delete button not working. Yeah, so and actually they ended up moving in my first original play, like Dawn and Nina, to the Goth mansion. So he just had a memory of being engaged to Cassandra, but then Cassandra just disappeared into the delete bin. So yeah, along with Mortimer and Alexander. Maybe that was a bad choice, but I didn't really know they could break up. So all you have to do is really load the Goths first, and then straight away go and get married, and then he leaves her at the altar. So I just played that, and then I played with Dawn, and then I never actually played out the scenario with the Calientes because both of them just got moved in with the boyfriends or like husbands. Yeah, ooh, the camera mod. Okay, that looks weird. Yeah, so I guess that's for my pretty dramatic and starting to get overpopulated Pleasantview. But I promise I will try to have only one baby for like college and fortune and popularity sims. I really want to do that, and they can live in these very small condos. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't have any neighborhoods added because I think Pleasantview already has enough sims on their own. Yeah, so thank you for watching. If you have watched this long video, I'm sorry, I guess. Bye. Let me know if you want to see the other neighborhoods. Maybe you don't. Bye.